Hi, everybody. I am Kathryn Troutman. I'm the author of the Job Seeker Guide, 10 Steps to a Federal Job. And this is the curriculum that I'm going to teach you today. I created this 20 years ago, right after 9/11, to help people navigate federal hiring because it's complicated. I will be showing you. And it was right after 9/11 when I wrote that first curriculum because so many people wanted to go into the government at that point. I have another book for spouses here, since their situation is unique. So I'll go ahead and start here now. And I have a business called the Resume Place, and we write federal resumes for people and coach people on their federal resumes. Everything I do all day long has to do with federal resume writing. Share screen. Here we go. So there we are, 10 steps to a federal job, how to land a government job for military and spouses, and actually everyone. So welcome to my class. This is the NCDA class. It is May 6th today, and I'm in Maryland. And there are the 10 steps right there. Yep. Number one, I teach you about federal jobs, job titles and salaries. Step two is networking. You can network for a federal job other than USA Jobs. Three is search for jobs on USA Jobs. Four is find the keywords to match your resume. Five, explore the core competencies to match the resume. Six is to write the resume. That is the biggest step in here, except eight's pretty big too, applying for jobs. Seven, write your accomplishments and learn about the questionnaire that's part of the application. 8 is apply for the job. 9, track and follow up. You can follow up with these applications. They will write to you and tell you if you are best qualified, referred, ineligible. You get all kinds of emails from OPM. And 10 is the interview and how to negotiate your offer if you get one. So there we go. That's it. So we have a little introduction here. Our goal with this course is to help you learn how to get best qualified, referred, interviewed, and hired. That's what we want. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is an activity that goes to the resume format called the outline format, where we emphasize certain skills and keywords in every resume. And we usually start with the hats or skills, top skills. So for instance, if I were to write a resume, the hats that I wear in my job, that could be paragraphs, could be trainer, curriculum designer, federal career coach, business manager, webmaster. Those are the main hats that I wear in my job. And that's the building blocks for my resume right there. This is the first case study here. Cedric, he was in the Navy and he wanted to apply for the job, Technical Operations Group Assistant at GS7. And that's the resume that he gave us, which is not good. It's really hard to read and nothing stands out. Terrible. And this is what we did with it. I don't have all of the resumes in this curriculum, but I do have them all in the book. So we added an introduction to this job because the USS Zumwalt was commissioned in 2016, and he was the first sole administrative officer. So that means he had a lot of extra responsibilities. And then the hats that he wore in his job are organizational liaison, supervisor, and management, and more. Looks way different than that, doesn't it? Sure does. And then, why go government? I always throw that out to my classes. And people say stable employment. You know, when the pandemic hit, government people did not lose their jobs. They just went home and did the same job from their house. Very, very stable. And promotion potential, competitive pay, good retirement, medical. It's worth the effort. It's worth getting through this 10 steps. It is. Okay, learn about federal jobs. So right now, there are a lot of jobs called direct hire because agencies are hiring, they want to hire faster for certain job titles, cybersecurity, intel, contract specialist, public health. So they have it a simpler application. And when I did the book, there were 1,700 jobs open. Yesterday, when I searched, there was 2,900 jobs open for direct hire. That's a lot. They're trying to move faster. Competitive hiring process, which is the normal process, is slower. A lot more steps to go through. That's 80 days. Now you can read all the job titles on the OPM website, so you can get familiar with the job titles in government, and these are the families and series. So if you want to get a job in human resources, it would be really good if you went to the O200 series on the classification standards and read about the HR jobs. Very, very informative, because you would see the descriptions and the keywords that are needed in your resume. And then when you go find an announcement in HR, you're already up to speed on writing that resume. Like if you want public affairs specialist, you would look at the information and arts group and read the public affairs position description and begin your resume today instead of waiting for the announcement. This is for veterans. It's awesome. You can put in the job that you had in the military and it will take you straight over to the government job title that matches. So this is really good. Refer this to all veteran people you know. These are the grades and salaries that a student would get when they graduate. Bachelor's degree is a GS5, and a 7 would be bachelor's degree with superior academic achievement, GPA 2.95. And that's like 12 grand. So that'd be pretty good if you had that GPA. Master's is a GS9 and PhD is 11. Now, veterans preference is really important to know about. It's very good. It works. It's real. It is a preference. And non-disabled veterans, what happens with them is if they can get qualified for the job and whatever their score is, 80, 95, 90, they can rise to the top of that group. So if their score is 87, they will rise to the top of that group. So they'll get ahead. Disabled veterans is even better. If they get a score of 80 on the package, whatever, they rise all the way to the top of the list, all the way to the top. And there could be 5 veterans at the top and they could be good. So it's very incredible. And this is only applied to the public announcements. Family member preference is the same thing. Family members can take advantage of the 10-point preference rising to the top. Spouses, widows, widowers, parents, they can use the hiring authority if they know about it. And you have to fill out this form and put it in your profile section and use it to use that hiring authority. Step 2, networking and using non-competitive hiring. You can network into a federal job. You sure can. You can get hired at a job fair. The myth is that you can only go through USA Jobs. No, it isn't. You should do both though. You should always do USA Jobs and you can do networking. So here are the people that can network, and it's a lot. Everybody can network for a direct hire job, but veterans, family members, derived preference, military spouses, and people with disabilities, students, and returning overseas employees. Yeah, students can use a direct hire authority. Yeah, if they come to a job fair, like a Secret Service comes to the job fair, they could hire on the spot. Yep. They bring announcements and resumes, collect resumes right there at the job fair. You can network through a job expo. You can look on LinkedIn for people and agencies and write to them. You need to send a customized letter and then follow up always, always. You can network right at the top of the resume. Make sure you put the hiring authority at the top, introduce yourself, and for the job expo, make sure you take a networking resume, but you can also take your federal resume as well. And this is the way you would add the hiring authority to your resume. Type it right at the top underneath your name. So if you are a student graduating, you would type eligible for post-secondary direct hire authority for students and recent graduates, so that the manager can see that you're right there. And these are all the hiring authorities. You don't type them all, but choose the ones that are right for you. Networking, you can network with selected placement program coordinators if you have a disability. There's a list on the website of agency representatives. You can find a representative for Homeland Security, Census, Interior, HHS, real names of real people that you can write to, introduce yourself, say what kind of job you're looking for and what grade level with a cover letter, and then also send your Schedule A letter as well. You would get your Schedule A letter from a doctor or from a voc rehab, And you can find a sample of that, Google it on OPM, just do Schedule A OPM and the letter will come up. So here's a case study for Maxine. She is a US Army derived preference person, and she wanted to get a federal job instead of the private sector. Her resume was kind of short and not very specific. And we changed it. We added a summary at the top. She was hired. And then her description is in the outline format: manage delivery of high quality, compassionate physical care, chart review, skillfully provided physical care. So this is our format, the small paragraphs, and then accomplishments. Okay, 3, search for jobs on USA Jobs. There are 17,000 jobs every day. Wow. You might not know this, but the federal government is the largest employer in the US. Yes, it is. Walmart used to be, but not anymore. And here's for veterans. Okay, for veterans, here we go again. The strongest announcements for veterans is the US citizens announcements, because that's the veterans preference. But they can also apply to federal employee announcements because of the EOA and special hiring authorities. So they should apply to both. And you can search pretty easily. You can just type in a keyword, administrative, and a city and state, and the jobs will come up. That's what my account looks like. I have 75 applications, 2 jobs saved. You can keep track of your applications right there. It's really nice. And these are the important sections of the vacancy announcement. Follow the directions. Look at the closing date immediately. There was an announcement for administrative law judge this week, and it opened up on May 4, and it said on the announcement that it would close after receiving 1,000 announcements. It closed in 17 hours. That was the fastest I have ever seen. Who would imagine? And it was a complicated announcement. They had to write 6 narratives as well as the resume. I can't imagine it. So look at the closing dates and look at any instructions that might say, we will close after 50 resumes or 100 resumes, because you got to be fast. Who can apply? Make sure you read who can apply based on hiring authorities. Read the duties, make sure the job looks good for you. Qualifications are critical to match for the resume, and KSAs are also critical to match for the resume. Now, finding keywords in each announcement. The best keywords are in this section right here, specialized experience. And the keywords are education, training, consultation, program administration, registration. They give you the keywords right there. So you would need to match those words in the outline format. There's only like 7 or 8 words in there. You better add program analytics, just diagnostics. That looks important. And then of course you look at the questionnaire as well. You look 4 places for keywords: the duties and responsibilities, the requirements, how you be evaluated, and the self-assessment questionnaire. 4 places. And this is what it looks like here. So the keywords for this job are customer services, interview skills, applying knowledge of guidance and regulations, problem solving, and computer skills. That's what was in the announcement. And it's crystal clear here that this person has those skills. It only takes 1 second to see those words. So core competencies are also important, and not all announcements include them. So these competencies are really good for a program analyst. You could use these words as the all cap words in the announcement if you want, in the resume. Here's one for peer specialist VA. Those are good. Those could be the headlines and hats for the paragraphs. Here's quality assurance. Those are good. They could be used. That's what HR wants to see. Okay, now writing the resume. This is the biggest step of all right here. And I've got 3 samples in this step here. So federal resume is not a private sector resume, a bullet resume, a big block resume, or a functional resume. Nope, it is a federal style resume. And if you get this message from OPM, the resume did not document either number of hours worked per week, description of job, or month and year. That just means you uploaded a private sector resume and it's not going to work. Here's what a federal resume is. Yep, it is 3 to 5 pages. It matches the announcement. It includes accomplishments. It lists the employment in reverse chronological order and includes all the required information. That sounds pretty easy, doesn't it? And it uses the outline format. Yeah. HR people like the outline format a lot. It's easy to read. So here's a sample of the outline format. A little introduction to the nonprofit first, and then these hats or skills: develop goals, senior advisor, design operational plans. Now that's easy to read, isn't it? You know, resumes by government HR people are read by human HR people, not an artificial intelligence system. So you want to have the resume in 12-point type, white space, a little bit of all caps, so they can read it. There's her accomplishments. Look at this. These accomplishments are longer than what you would write in private sector. Private sector accomplishments are like 2 sentences or less. We write little stories in our accomplishments that show what they did and what the results were. Now, this is what you include for work history, and a lot of people don't know this. They want month and year dates, starting and ending, hours per week for each job. They want to see the level of your experience. Whatever is relevant needs to rise to the top. Like we have a sample I'll show you in a minute where we flip nonprofit above paid experience because it was more relevant. And also they want to see volunteer experience. And here's more. They want the works. We type courses into resumes for federal resumes because the managers don't get the transcripts. And we want people, the managers, to know the courses that the new grad has. So there you go, that's a list. Now here's one of our samples. She is a Native American 30% or more disabled veteran. Her current job was ammunitions test coordinator. And she did ammunitions testing in the military also. She did that all the time. But she also had an avocation as a nonprofit person. And she was vice president of Native American Women Warriors. And that turned out to be the job that's relevant. She's applying for senior program analyst at the VA for the Center of Women's Veterans, a GS-14 job. Amazing, right? Well, her before keywords were about engineering, ammunition, program analyst, joint test team, all kinds of technical stuff. The after keywords that we used were develop goals, senior advisor, design operational plans, evaluate performance. Very different. These are the words of program analyst. So this is her resume. We put her memberships up at top, conferences because they're all women veteran activities relevant. And there's her description of her job. Now you'll see the dates are 2010 to 2014. I realize that is not today, but we flipped it. We put this up above her ammunition test job because this is the job that got her hired. She did this 40 hours a week. And this is completely 100% relevant. She got hired 14 with this resume. And we flipped it up. We put the test engineer at the end. We put it in, but it's at the end. This is a job, she was not paid for this job, and it got her hired. You can see the outline format right there, the all cap keywords that match the announcement. Then here's another case study, Justice. He's also 30% or more disabled military spouse of active duty. And he was a census enumerator, homeschool teacher, and he wanted to get a job as visual information specialist. And the before keywords didn't even mention film and video. The after, look at that. So technical, so good. And there's what we did with the resume. We went and put all the software and equipment list up front, education, which is very relevant for the target, and put in the titles of his courses. And then here is his academic projects, which are all relevant for information specialists for NPS, National Park Service. And then we put in the census job after all the other stuff was put up top. He got hired. He was happy. Okay, here's Jonathan, US Army, bioscience research technician at E5, and he wanted to go to the VA when he got out. His resume was so short when we first got it. He said nothing. Awful. And there's the resume. We put certifications first, which are very relevant, then the education with courses, and his clinical skills, computer skills, and then outline format for his research job, matching the announcement. Those words were required skills from the specialized experience. Then one more, military spouse. She's going for a legal assistant or paralegal in Fort Rucker. And that's her resume to start, just short, tiny little resume. And this is what we did with it. We put her military spouse preference up there, and then her education, which is in paralegal studies, recent, courses, licenses, and then we added her military spouse history, because we recommend the spouses add this so that they'll know her full background. And then this is her job as a key spouse volunteer for a lot of years, 4 years, 20 hours a week. That's a lot. That's a job. And she wasn't paid for that. So we put it in. A lot of spouses don't add their volunteer experience. They don't know it's so important. She got hired because of this. Okay, step 7, write your accomplishments. Sometimes we ask people to write their top 10 list of accomplishments. And this is Cedric's top 5. And this is really cool. We pulled it out so that we could see the most impressive things that he did and then added them into the resume as a really good coaching lesson to get people to think about accomplishments. And some of the announcements will have KSAs, knowledge, skills, and abilities. And you definitely have to match these with either an accomplishment or clearly add language in the resume that will match these. KSAs are kind of like everywhere. They can go into your work experience sections, your duties. They can go into the accomplishments. They can go into a questionnaire narrative. They match the multiple choice questions or the interview. So pay very close attention if you see KSAs in the announcement. And we recommend you tell a story, an accomplishment story in the CCAR format. The context of the story, the challenge or what was going on, actions, what did you do, and the result, what happened. CCAR. I coach people to write the CCAR every day. And this is our builder. We have a little CCAR builder on my website that'll walk you through the fields and help you write a whole story instead of a piece of a story. Here's a CCAR sample. Context is case manager, originally in office. And the challenge was a client was losing information because everything was in folders, which led to lapses in coverage. Thousands of dollars lost. That sounds terrible. So his actions were, he researched and learned advanced Microsoft Excel formulas. He researched insurance procedures to determine time perimeters. And he co-trained people on the new system. And the results were, he formulated a tracking software allowing medical records to be alerted to clients' lapse dates. Wow. Eventually saved $20,000 a month through drastically reduced instances of denied insurance coverage. Wow, that guy is really good at administration, efficiency. He's innovative. He learned an entire system to do this. Man, I'd hire him. He is efficient, cares about the mission of the organization, customer focused, cares about money. That's a good story. That could get him hired. That's a good interview story also. Here's another accomplishment for customer service. And see the length of this? It's like 5 sentences long. So accomplishments are pretty lengthy. Here's a couple more. These are accomplishments in a GS5 resume, believe it or not. Yeah. She redesigned the lobby and reception area to make the space more professional, appealing to customers. Good idea. Great idea. Now you can use a cover letter if you want for a federal application. It's optional. We've got a builder for a cover letter on my website. You can mention special considerations or special skills you want to have highlighted. The HR person won't read it, but the manager probably will. So it's up to you. Here's a sample of a letter using our builder. pretty nice. Relevant experience, summarizing it right there. I think it's good, but it is optional. Now, applying for the job is a bear. It's 2 parts. And avoid these mistakes. She looks really miserable. Try not to be ineligible for the job. That means don't apply for a job that you can't apply for. Look at who may apply. So you don't waste your time. Like if it's a federal employee announcement and you're not a federal employee, don't apply to that job. If you don't show the specialized experience, you will not get best qualified. Give yourself all the credit you can on the questionnaire and make sure you have documents that are required. And first, you have to set up your account. There are 2 parts in USA Jobs. Part 1 is the account, and this will take you, half an hour to do. I recommend you do the profile before you apply for a job because it just takes too long. So set up your profile. And here's a big question for you. Should you use a resume builder or upload your resume? And the answer is both. It is both. Some agencies require the builder. I personally don't like the builder because the type font is really small and it's not flexible with formatting. And I like to, for a recent grad, I want to put education at the top and certifications at the top. But with the builder, you can't do that. You can only do work history at the top. So there's your documents. You put them all in there. Name your resume based on the job titles. And these are documents. Look at this. Oh, the government loves documents. Just make sure you have all the right documents for your hiring authority. And here's more documents. Yeah. So if you have a hiring authority, like for Schedule A is right there. You need a Schedule A letter. A recent grad would need transcripts. That's another document. Okay, guess what? Now apply for the job. Part 2, you're not done. So be sure you read who may apply over here so you'll know that you can qualify for it. And make sure you select the right resume when you upload it because you could have 3 or 4 in there. Select the right documents that are required because you might have a number of them. And then with the questionnaire, just be patient. Have a cup of tea and get through it because it's long. Surprising, sometimes there are 10 or 15 questions, personnel questions. So I recommend you practice it just to see what it's like. Give yourself all the credit you can. Oh, we say that so much. There it is again. You need to try to answer at the E at the highest level for this question. Present informational talks, guided tours. So you need to say, I'm an expert at this, or I've supervised this, or I'm the person who is consulted by other workers, or I train them. So E covers a lot. Expert, supervisor, assistant, and trainer. I'm an E. Yep. Okay, then there's your documents. You have to click on the download thing there and move them over. Select all the documents you need. And then look for this note that says successful submission, because it's a lot of steps. You want to make sure you hit submit and you don't miss it after all that work. Okay, good news here. You can track and follow up. Amazing, right? I mean, I have people who apply to 70 jobs and they're ineligible or something, and they don't know why, because they don't track and follow up to get a troubleshoot. So you can do that. You will get emails after every announcement that will tell you these things right here. You are not referred. You are ineligible. You did not meet areas of consideration. You do not possess special, all kinds of bad news and some good news too. Sometimes they say you're referred. Oh, you want to have a party if you get referred. So if you want to check what happened, if you do get ineligible, you could contact the HR person who's on the announcement and ask them, what did you do wrong so you can correct it? Here's a sample of a letter that you could write to HR asking why you were not best qualified. And they don't always write back, but they might write back. So it's worth doing it. And here's some direct, samples of actual emails. So this first one says, you are not considered for the job because you do not meet area of consideration. Okay. You are ineligible because you do not possess the specialized experience. Well, if you know you have the specialized experience and it was in the resume, you'd want to write to HR and find out why they don't see that. So you can find out. And here's a letter. This is a good one. You're hired. You've been tentatively selected for the position of public affairs. Wow. So you would write back to them and say, thank you so much. I will give you my answer tomorrow or 2 days from now. I'm so excited. Thank you. And your name. You don't have to write to them that second. And the reason you do that is because you want to be able to negotiate your salary, your step level that they offered you. Now, the interview is a very serious system. It's 35, 40 minutes, open-ended questions. The answers are scored. It is an absolute oral examination, and you need to practice and prepare. I recommend people write 5 CCAR stories to get ready and practice them with your phone or somebody who will listen to you. Here's some sample questions that they might ask you. So for problem solving, describe a time when you analyze data to determine multiple solutions to a problem. So then you would give an example of a time when you analyze data, what the data was, and what the situation was, what the problem was, and what the results were. That's a problem solving story. So you need to have 5 stories ready to answer the various questions they're going to ask you. And they might also ask you these questions. Tell me about yourself. You got to prepare that. That's harder than you think. Can you tell me one significant accomplishment? What are your best competencies? What are your valuable skills? So you really do have to get prepared for these interviews ahead. And we certainly do recommend the CCAR. I know I said that in here 10 times, probably. We teach it in every class, coaching it for every client to write these accomplishments in this format. Yeah, know the agency. One of the questions they might ask you is, can you tell us about the mission of this agency? You had better be able to answer that question and read about the agency online. Sell yourself, use the personal pronoun I, and look at them in the eyes if you can, if it's virtual or if it's in person. If it's phone, just be as clear as you can be. A lot of people don't use I. They say we and they and talk about the team. But what they're interested in is what you can do. The telephone interviews are pretty hard because you can't see anybody. They're all hard, actually. They really are. I prepared 2 people for interviews this week, and it really did take practice to get those stories right. And so if you receive the offer, this is what's next. This is my last point I'm going to give you. You can negotiate your offer if you are a first-time recruit for government, and you need to write a letter called the Superior Qualifications Letter. So you got the offer there of a GS-11 Step 1, which includes locality pay. So this is what superior qualifications are. You have demonstrated excellent competencies, you have education, experience that's a little bit above what's required. And so you request a day or so you can get your answer. You need to write this letter. The job offer will not be withdrawn just because you're waiting a little bit of time. It's okay. And then prepare this written statement. And you can negotiate these things right here. The step, so if they offer you step 1, you could ask for step 7, and they might come back to you with step 5, or extra annual leave based on years of experience in a certain field. A recruitment incentive of 25%. Yeah, you can ask for that straight out. You can ask for tuition reimbursement of your student federal loan of $75,000, and they might give it to you. If you don't ask, you won't get it. And here's a sample of the Superior Qualifications Letter. Thank you for the offer of training specialist. I look forward to the opportunity to work there. At this time, I would like to request that based on superior qualifications I received step increase to step 4, or a sign-on bonus of 25% of my starting pay. Through my work and experience, these are my specialized experience, my superior qualifications. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. She was very qualified. She got 25% sign-on and step 4. This is a letter that you would write and ask for more. When I do my coaching for this, about 80% of my clients get something. They don't always get everything they ask for, but they get something because people want to hire these individuals. So write this letter if you're first time hire in government. So that's it. We did it. You completed the 10 steps to a federal job. And I'm so glad you got to hear the 10 steps. Here's the book, and it's on my website, ebook or whatever. And then here's another book you might be interested in. The student book also has samples of recent grads with emphasis on education, courses, papers, projects, skills. We go crazy with the education section. And then this is the main book, Federal Resume Guidebook, that is for everybody, current feds, contractors, private sector, anybody who wants to write a federal resume. This is the basic book that you would start with. So thank you very much, everybody. I hope you liked the presentation, and I hope that you will coach some of your clients to consider federal. The jobs are really good. It is a lot of work to get one, but they're good. They're worth it. They're worth your time. I'm Kathryn Troutman. My website is resume-place.com, and you can sign up for my newsletter there if you like. It's really good. And look at all our services. We have a certification program where I license you to teach this curriculum if you want. You could teach it at your school or your transition center, employment center. 1,000 people are teaching it around the world today because it's a formula. It's a formula for federal job search. And that helps to teach and coach to have a formula because it is complicated. So thanks very much, everybody. Have a good summer. Bye.